Welcome in to the channel Tennessee podcast. It's Monday, October the 27th, the year 2025. We're here to talk about what's going to take place on November the 1st, 2025, when the Oklahoma Sooners roll into town. Oklahoma is on deck. Dark mode has officially been engaged for Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Oklahoma gets Neyland at night. Dark mode, Neyland at night. Brian Kelly and his Familaay are officially gone from LSU. And our good friend Bobby Howard from the Schooner podcast is here to break down some Oklahoma things so we get a better, I guess you get a better feel of what we're going to deal with on Saturday night inside Neyland Stadium. But welcome, my dudes. Welcome, my guys. Let's talk. Let's talk about sports. I'm your host, Randy, alongside my good friend, Alton Brown, and alongside our good friend, Bobby Howard from the Shooter Podcast. Bobby, what's going on, my dude? How are we doing?
Randy, thank you for having me. Happy to be back on the show. The week has been a lot lighter than it was last time out. Due to Tiegate and all that. We don't need to rehash that situation. But, yeah, a little bit of doom and gloom in Norman. You know, a winnable game last weekend against Ole Miss. Always, you never want to lose that, but you especially don't want to lose that entering a trip to Neyland and then Alabama immediately after that. So you're looking at a OU fan base that's a bit tepid, a bit nervous, and, you know, Neyland at night. That's a pretty damn brutal place to try to start a turnaround.
Yeah, it is. And before I get to Austin, I just want to let everybody know that this podcast is brought to you by Southern Turf. It's turf time in Tennessee. Give my buddy Scott from Southern Turf a call for a free quote on your artificial turf needs, ranging from a backyard to a football field to a putting green and more. Scott has a solution at an affordable price compared to his competitors. Give him a call at 704-960-2651. That is Scott from Southern Turf. All right, my dudes. Austin, how's your dumbass doing?
Oh, well, we won. We won against Kentucky, but, this is a real week. This is a week you actually have to worry about. So that's why we got old Bobby here. And, oh, man. I'm feeling pretty good, though. I'm feeling pretty good. I would like to hear Arion Carter's going to play, but outside of that, feeling pretty good.
Bobby, how are you feeling coming in here? Because you said this is your first trip to Neyland Stadium. Like you said ever, right? Correct?
Right. Yeah. Never been to Neyland. Never been to that part of Tennessee at all. Only time I've been to Tennessee is Memphis, which I believe you've told me in the past doesn't count. So, yeah. So this will be fun.
Okay, so you are getting here for the first time, stepping your foot in Neyland Stadium for the first time. I was going to let you know that it's going to blow you away how big this place is, how loud this place is, and you're getting it for the first time with dark mode. And I don't want to sound intimidating. We have our issues on defense. We have some issues all around our team, but there's something about dark mode when Tennessee wears those black jerseys and runs out of that power tee that gives them just they turn into insane people. It's the weirdest thing. Tennessee can be terrible, but some reason, some way, somehow, those jerseys give them like superpowers and they kill people. Like I don't know why that is, but it feels like that's the way it is. And you'll see.
It does feel that way, but I think it being Oklahoma and like with both of us sitting on the edge of being out of playoff contention with a loss. It's just such a this is going to be an intense atmosphere because it's just going to be you can cut the tension, you can cut it with a knife. And I feel like this is going to be one of those games where you can say like 3 key plays kind of decided the whole thing. And hopefully we, don't miss more than, 25 tackles.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead, Bobby.
Well, I will say the dark mode situation, I understand. Like, y'all are clearly hype up for it. I get it. Me personally, I'm a little disappointed y'all aren't wearing the traditionals. I'm a bit of an old school type of guy. Would have, for my first trip to Neyland, would have loved to see, the classic look. And when I see that black and orange, it just it doesn't intimidate me, because I've seen too many years of Oklahoma State rolling out in a similar combination, and I'm like, I'm instantly just going to be like, oh, it's just the Pokes out there.
Well,
So I think I'm going to be proven wrong.
Dig
probably
right out the gates.
Yeah, no,
I guess
look,
I
I'm
just got
probably
like a
gonna be,
backwards dig.
let him talk, Austin.
yeah, I'm probably gonna be proven wrong. Neyland's like twice the size of Boone Pickens. So I'm getting my digs out a little bit while I'm confident, I suppose. But I don't know. I expected the traditional Tennessee look. So if I'm wrong that the dark mode's better, we'll see. But
Well, it's because it's next. It's Halloween. That we usually wear them right around Halloween time. They got the spooky rock top and everything, all that stuff. But yeah, man. So me and Austin, of course, have been inside Neyland a million times, and I get what you're saying about the whole traditional look, because you said you never even seen them play. You never even seen them play in person at all.
I've seen them in Norman. Norman.
Okay, so you got the all whites. You didn't get the traditional orange, and that's right. Duh. But you were on this podcast 1 year ago, and you were feeling pretty confident then. And as we sit on this podcast right now, I'm not feeling very confident in our defense, and our defense can make Mateer look like a freaking Heisman winner. I'm just going to let you know that right now. But with all that being said, Oklahoma has a terrible, I guess you could say, scoring offense. Tennessee has an amazing scoring offense. Tennessee's defense is really bad, and Oklahoma's just not. So give me your first thoughts when you hear that, Bobby. Where do you think? And also said it a minute ago, it's a high stakes. We both have 2 losses. You have 2 losses, right? Correct. Yes. And
Correct, yeah.
yes. And so, like what Austin said, it's just going to be, this atmosphere is going to be intense. But give me your first initial thoughts of just how you're feeling and how Oklahoma fans are feeling about walking into Neyland this Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Well, I mean, the nerves, all jokes aside about the black and orange uniforms, the nerves are through the roof. I think a lot of OU fans are feeling super down about it, mainly because that first visit to Neyland back in 2015 against a Butch Jones team, obviously not the same Tennessee that you see today, was a bit of a struggle. And that was Baker Mayfield and, Lincoln Riley, and a team that ended up in the college football playoff back when there were only 4 teams. And it was a dogfight to get that one out. And to this day, you still hear people say that game was the loudest atmosphere they've ever seen OU play in. And to imagine that atmosphere, but with a better Tennessee team, it makes a lot of people nervous. And I think some people still have, some feelings about how the Tennessee game went last year, some bad vibes in general. And, OU fans, could be pretty quick to turn on a team, after a couple losses, some deficiencies, where I know y'all are saying like, everyone can move on our defense. Trust me, somehow you're going to have the best defensive performance of the season out of nowhere.
So it's kind of like how we feel about, how we feel like that Mateer is just going to destroy us. And then you think, vice versa. It's like a Tennessee thing. Our buddy Scott chimes in and says, will Bobby be at G10, the ultimate Tennessee football experience, as in a tailgate? Bobby, will you be at G10?
Absolutely. I got the invite. I still don't know why y'all tailgate in a parking garage, but I'm excited to see it. Sounds cool as hell to me.
You'll see. The parking garage has layers, and every layer has just tailgaters on every layer of the parking garage. So you'll see. Where we tailgate is a big thing of grass, and you'll see it's outside of the parking garage. But man, this game is, I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped for you to come see this. I'm pumped for you to get in there and see what people always talk. If you've never been to a Tennessee game, people don't understand it unless you've been there. And a lot of fan bases are like, oh, it's overrated. No, it's not overrated. So I'm really pumped for you to see it. I'm really pumped for you to get this experience with dark mode and the spooky rocky top and the blackout. Basically, it's going to be a fun experience. Austin, what are you feeling? What are you feeling going into this game? What do you got?
You know, this is one of those games where I think both sides just have questions and stuff we're confident about. Oklahoma feel like early in the year, y'all were really confident. You finally had that offense you wanted. It's here. Just was that precision point quarterback that he was at Washington State. The dude looked like a freaking stud out there, and then kind of went off the rails. Yeah, feel probably a little snake bitten with the whole hand surgery thing. I mean, and then but the defense has remained elite. That is for sure. I mean, it's not maybe the same level as last year, but it's still pretty damn good. Like I'd say top 10 in college football in terms. I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt with who y'all like. Maybe not by the numbers, but y'all have played insane competition. And then Tennessee, we're it sucks. Like I feel like there's a lot that we're really good at this year that we weren't last year, and everything we were good at last season, we suck at this year. We were elite at stopping the run. People can run all over us now. We were amazing at defending the red zone. We suck at that now. We just several things, but we couldn't throw the ball downfield to save our life last year, and now we have a guy who can hit deep passes like it's nothing else. And I'll be honest, it's a little bit more fun to be good at scoring than it is defense. You feel like I don't know. It's weird. But I think we'd all be feeling better if we beat Georgia, to be honest. Because we should have beat Georgia. But
Bobby,
yeah, I feel
go
weird.
ahead, Austin. Yeah, I feel kind of like Austin. Like it's so indifferent. I want to get this from an outside perspective of you, Bobby. Like in other fans, I always say you can judge a team of how good they are by if they're on your schedule, and you just say crap, they're on our schedule. Like that's going to be a tough game. How does the outside world view Tennessee? Because Tennessee fans are the most critical people on this planet. Me and Austin both, like we just critique our team like crazy. We think we're terrible at things, but then other people may think differently. Like from an outside perspective, like what do people see when they watch Tennessee and see Tennessee? Like what is that for you?
Yeah, I think my opinion of Tennessee at the start of the season versus now is greatly improved. I felt like there are a bunch of question marks, primarily at quarterback, and Aguilar has been phenomenal. I think you see him, you see one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC there. You see absolute weapons, at wide receiver with Brazel and them, and and Bishop is a hell of a runner. So offensively, you see it just a dynamo. I think that at times Tennessee can be a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes they don't perform as good as I think they are and can be. You'll see a head scratcher or two. I think the Arkansas game at home was a little bit. I saw that final score. I'm like, that's odd. Same with Mississippi State on the road. There are just some situations where Tennessee doesn't play up to where they're at. But in a big game situation, I feel like the Vols are absolutely as dangerous as anyone in the country. That offense is legit, and defensively, I think if OU's offense could score more than 26 points in a game, I would be feeling a lot better about that. But it's been a bit of a head scratcher so far in the SEC with the Sooners offense. So overall, I think you see a team that's really damn good in an environment that is unmatched, with anywhere else in the country. Like, I think the peak anywhere else is, you can't beat Neyland. Neyland is as good as it gets. And from the outside looking in, it's a hell of a tough place to try to go get a win in. So overall, good program, survived a lot of issues, but this year, I don't know. I'm overall pretty impressed.
Go ahead, Austin.
All right. I'm kind of interested to see where y'all are on Brent Venables. Like, let's just say, I mean, I don't know, but if y'all lose, your last two games or your next two games, maybe finish the year 8-4. Where is the Oklahoma fan base with him?
I think it's really interesting because I think a lot of people really want Brent Venables to succeed. He's a good guy, does the right things. He's the type of guy you want as a man to like lead your program. But there are just so many annoying mistakes that happen. His teams are weirdly undisciplined. He is way too balanced on the defensive side over the offensive side. And he just doesn't feel like a great head coach at times. And I think to me, it's one of those where you keep waiting for it to click. You just want all of this to come together as a program. And every time you think you've gotten over that hump, you have a situation like Saturday where it's a very winnable game. Granted, a good team. Ole Miss is a very, very good team, but a game you should have won and could have won. And you just see it too damn often. So I think OU goes 8-4. Brent Venables is definitely staying. Tough market. And the schedule for these first 2 years is from hell. The SEC league office. I know. Well, then they give Texas all these cupcakes. They're struggling out here to beat Kentucky and Mississippi State in regulation. Mm-hmm. So love that. But no, I think the schedule gives Brent a lot of leeway. But at the end of the day, 8-4 doesn't cut it long term. Might cut it this year, but if there's not progress from 8-4 next year, that's when you really start getting into the hot seat.
Would he possibly get fired if they lose out?
Lose out? I could see it. Yeah. I mean, that would be a catastrophe.
We might be in the market for a new defensive coordinator.
Hey, look, if there's one thing about Josh Heupel I've noticed is he's a big fan of getting the band back together. I saw the booth with Joey Halsley. You even picked up Seth Luttrell, which I'm like, look, hey, good for him, I guess. I hope he doesn't have too much influence in that room. But look, I don't know. That'd be if the Haslams can, put down a good chunk of change and pick him up. I mean, that's as deadly a team in the country as it gets.
Yeah. That would be just insanity if we had Heupel at the helm on offense and Venables at the defense.
And he is such a great defensive coordinator. Yeah. The amount of times I've had the conversation where people have asked me, can we just demote him to DC and hire someone else as the head coach?
Yep.
Numerous. If only it works that way.
I feel like it could. I don't know why. It never does, though. It never works out like that. I don't know why. That's what we were trying. We had that mindset when we had Jerry Pruitt. Like, can he just have no control of the offense and just coach defense when it comes to him? But then those guys are always stubborn, though, and like getting their own way, it feels like. So it happened with Muschamp. So it happens with a lot of guys who are DCs. And I don't know why, but there's only some DCs that turn out to be great head coaches.
Yeah. But overall, you just hope he finds a way to figure it out. But it's year 4.
Year 4. You're getting to the point where it can start getting a little frustrating when you see the same things keep happening. Because when OU first started this season, there wasn't a fan in the country that wasn't like, oh crap, that team is legit. And then Mateer, of course, gets hurt, has to have surgery. He's got to have screws in his thumb, and you mentioned it before we got on here, because Austin asked a question before we got on here about, is that injury affecting him? And you said you think it's more mental than actual injury. Explain that.
Yeah. So to me, more than anything, I feel like he's not seeing the field very well. You kind of saw it against Texas at times, and you definitely saw it against Ole Miss. He's just missing guys wide open. The biggest problem with Mateer right now is he's very much, he looks at his first read, like pre-snap, he knows who he's going to throw it to, and he's going to throw it to him. And if he doesn't throw it to him, he's going to panic and scramble out and do something else. But he's not reading the field very well. And that's been a bit of a reoccurring issue in big games. And, if it's hard to do that at home against Ole Miss, it's going to be hard to sell to do it against Tennessee and Neyland.
Austin, what did you notice about me and Austin were tailgating this past weekend at Kentucky? And we were watching that Ole Miss OU game. Austin, what did you keep saying? Keep saying when Mateer kept throwing the ball.
It just seemed like he was way off on wide open receivers and also missing like the guys he could dump it down to, and you probably wouldn't be testing your hand that much. I mean, I don't know. I've never been a quarterback before, so I can't tell you what it's really like. But I watched that guy at Washington State. I watched him early in the year. It seemed like he was just a pinpoint passer. I mean, I thought he was going to run his way to the Heisman, and man, which be like the fourth time we've seen that happen with Oklahoma. but I don't know. Oh, good Oklahoma quarterback. I just think okay, Heisman. So uh yeah, and then that surgery. I didn't watch much of the Texas game because I think we were playing can't quite remember who it was, but we had a game. Oh, I think Arkansas. I was at the Arkansas game, so I didn't see much of that game. But that was the narrative I heard, and obviously 6 points. Uh, but yeah, that's the kind of take I got from that. Y'all do look like you upgraded in receiver though, because that was not looking too good last year.
Oh, that was a disaster. Just the amount of injuries. I mean, you kind of got a lot of it by the time we played y'all early in the season, but deeper into it, it was a disaster. That room was a mess. It's a little bit better this year. You know, Isaiah Satania, the Arkansas transfer, has been pretty good, but it's not the best unit. It's improved, but I mean, really, anything could have improved on last year.
Yeah, that's this is going to be kind of like the game where we figure out who we are as a team. Like or not really who we are as a team, but who we are, like how this season is. Because if we win here, it's going to be we'll be sitting there with Florida left, New Mexico State, whatever. And apparently a giant showdown with Vanderbilt, which is just something I'm having to get used to, apparently. So we'll figure out if those games will be determining a playoff spot or if they're just going to decide, are you going with the Gator or the Citrus Bowl? Pretty much. If you had to give a guess, what will Oklahoma's record be in these last 4 games?
Just being realistic, I think it's 8-4. I think they go 2-2, lose both road games, and then, you know, beat a Missouri team without Bo Prabula and beat an LSU team that just fired their coach. To me, I feel like you can handle those games at home, but a team that's undisciplined, that's just known for just shooting itself in the foot and finding ways to lose, it's going to get tougher on the road and into two really tough environments. That's just I just don't see it happening. But you know, I think 8-4 feels the most realistic. But you know, if there's some sort of Sooner magic in this team to find a way to, you know, win some sort of game, you know, I mean, maybe it sounds crazy to say dark mode against Tennessee, but I guess that would be the most likely. But we're talking like 5% versus 0.
I guarantee you there is a reality where we blow this game. Okay. I can promise you there is that realistic possibility. I think we'll win because I see Oklahoma struggles, but there's definitely a shot. You know, you force a couple turnovers and we'll see.
And that's been the problem with OU's defense is they have not forced turnovers. It's really good at getting to the quarterback. Whenever it can get to the quarterback, it's great. You know, but even in their best defensive outputs, you know, they haven't been turning over anybody. You got the only 2 turnovers you've had at SEC play came against South Carolina. One of them was a punter throwing an interception, and the other was a garbage time pick into the end zone. So it's not exactly like this defense has been, you know, causing these game flipping plays. They're really good at stop rate. They're really good at, you know, preventing touchdowns, forcing you to take the field goal. But in terms of game-breaking plays, we haven't seen that this season, and they really need to start doing that.
But that's crazy. It's crazy that that Oklahoma has such a good defense because you said they don't cause a lot of turnovers. Tennessee has a really bad defense, but they seem to cause a lot of turnovers. It's the weirdest thing. And the more that I listen to you and Austin kind of go back and forth right here, the more like even this game is actually it's so close to being even because your strengths are our weaknesses. Our weaknesses are like your strength. Like it's strength and weakness. It's like a yin and the yang thing here, because Tennessee is one of the worst red zone defenses in the country. I think they're almost dead last. In Oklahoma, aren't they one of the best red zone offenses in the country?
At one point in time, they might have been. They were pretty awful against Ole Miss last weekend.
Yes, but I saw something where Oklahoma is pretty good in the red zone throughout the whole entire season. So you have Tennessee with a horrible red zone defense. Almost every team scores in the red zone against Tennessee. And then you have a stat that I read that could be inaccurate, but I think it's I think it's pretty true. It came from a reliable source. It was on the radio. They were breaking the game down, and they said Oklahoma has a pretty good red zone offense. And so you take all of that, you take Tennessee's horrible defense that sometimes make plays, and then you take Oklahoma's offense that isn't that great. You said 26 points. They don't score over 26 points.
It's kind of their thing. They haven't scored over 30 against an SEC team since joining the conference.
Okay, you want to know a crazy stat?
Joining the conference?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I know.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is.
You want to know?
Last year was awful. I expect that out of last year's OU, but this year is like,
yeah.
How the hell
Even Nico did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because you say 26 points a game. But you want to know why Brian Kelly pretty much just got fired? Not because he's just a bad human being and he treats his assistant coaches like garbage. But I've said this out on our show all the time, and I've beaten this into Austin's head because I've said it so many times. But LSU has not scored over 25 points this entire season besides one game, and that was Southeastern Louisiana. So
that's wild.
That's an insane stat. So Oklahoma not being able to score 26 points. It's going to be one of those games where I feel like whoever gets to 45 first could win.
Buddy,
now,
let me just tell you, it could be y'all's lucky day, because we even let Kentucky break into the 30s. Anything's possible.
I was listening to some of y'all or some folks on a Twitter space, and y'all were down pretty bad at halftime on that defense. And I will say I'm still not confident about the offense moving, but look, if it's as bad as you say it is, I don't know. I might start getting a little bit of hope in me here.
Well, I don't want to give you the hope, because it's Austin. What was it? 2022 when Kentucky came into town, dark mode, and they had a really good, pretty good offense. And Tennessee defense wasn't very good, but in that game they looked like a national championship defense. And it's kind of what you said, Bobby, earlier. So this is going to be the game where Tennessee comes out and they have an amazing defense. I can see that happening too, because like I said at the beginning of this podcast, those damn black jerseys do something to this team. I don't know what it is or why it is. I just think it's the, and you'll see, it's the atmosphere. It's just the electricity, the loudness. It's hard to explain until you witness it, of why people say dark mode. And as an Oklahoma fan, I know you said you're getting a little bit confident here with me and Austin sitting there talking about how bad our defense is, which it is. Our defense is not great. But that dark mode, it's something different, man. I can't explain it. I don't understand it. It just is what it is.
It's bad luck for Oklahoma. That's the environment. But I mean, who the hell knows? I feel good about this game and then bad about this game. I mean, these last three games are just so weird for us. I'm not counting New Mexico State, but it's like Oklahoma, I feel like we should win that, but we might not. Florida, I feel like we should win that, but it's the swamp. Who the hell knows? So I'm not going to bank on that. And then apparently Vandy is like, I don't know, good at football and got the biggest douchebag on earth at quarterback. So great story. But
it's real heartwarming stuff over there.
Yeah, there's a weird thing about Vandy being good at football, because you were pretty used to Oklahoma State regularly being competent and pretty dangerous with Mike Gundy. You got him most of the time, but they could get you, and they have a legit fan base and whatever. We take pride in Tennessee that we don't have an in-state rival. We joke that like Vandy is just an afterthought in every way, shape, and form, and the fact that like them being so whatever is just it just helps us. And suddenly, I don't really get how this happened. Because I didn't see it happening really. Literally in 22 and 23, there was no hope whatsoever on that roster. I remember just watching it like, I don't think these guys will ever be good at football ever. And then they somehow beat Bama last year, and now they're back and have the oldest roster in the country, and they look pretty damn good. So that doesn't have much to do with the Oklahoma game. I just went on a tangent, but
I will say I'm worried y'all might be dealing with Oklahoma State circa like 2001, Les Miles, because that is a program that used to be awful. Until Les Miles showed up, helped turn it around, got the Boone Pickens money going. And even though we beat them every year, they just still kind of existed. And, it went from them being, a basketball school and a wrestling school to kind of a presence, kind of annoying, but never fully a threat.
I will never, ever forgive them for losing to Iowa State and letting Alabama make the 2011 national championship.
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
I know you're happy, but I
God.
hate Alabama. We gotta see LSU Alabama have a 21-0 game that somehow only had one touchdown.
Yeah, OU not winning, having won a title since 2000 is bad, like bad enough. But if you had an Oklahoma State title in 2011 in the middle of that all, yeah, it would have been just hellish.
Well, we're about in the same boat here because you did 2000 and we're 98. So
yeah,
we're two like blue blood programs basically that haven't seen that type of success in a while. But I want to get your opinion because you mentioned it earlier, and it just kind of popped in my head. And you were like, man, our schedule's brutal. That kind of thing. Be honest with me now. Be honest. Were you one of those guys that was like the SEC is overrated before you got to the SEC?
I didn't say it was overrated. I felt like the meat of it, like some of the back half of the SEC wasn't that great. And I felt like, some of these schools who, really didn't contribute much to the whole mix of it all, had no reason to be crowing about the success of the SEC. And I will say it has been a damn grind, and I've always wondered. The trickiest thing about all of it is the fact that we've had our worst down year in 25 years, maybe since the 90s. Year one, it was the worst time to be bad. It's so annoying, egg on your face. But I don't know. I thought some of those Baker Mayfield teams could have competed. Jason White's teams in the mid 2000s. The Stoops era teams I thought could have made some good runs with the SEC. Mm-hmm. But it's just a damn shame that it just flipped at the worst possible time. So.
Did it flip because the SEC was good, or just is that?
Look, you saw OU last year.
Yeah, you let Nico pick you apart.
Which, really? By the way, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. It is genuinely so funny to see how y'all turned on Nico. So, which I get. He pulled a snake move on y'all. He pulled a Caleb Williams, whatever, without actually being Caleb Williams. I would be mad too, but. Even during the season, it was interesting because right before that Oklahoma game, he was God. He was the second coming. You're going to win the Heisman. That version of Tennessee before OU, never panned out. And I will say a lot of that fell on Nico, who was unfortunately for y'all that year, very overrated.
Yeah, I agree. But he had throws in that Oklahoma game. When he had, who was it, Austin? The slant.
Dante Thornton.
Deontay Thornton over the middle, and it was the most perfectly placed ball. But then after the Oklahoma game, it just went to shit.
He kind of played like shit the whole second half of that game too.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as we got to SEC play and anyone that could put pressure on him, they realized putting pressure on him made him kind of have no brain and just give up on every play, and he only threw to one guy. That's kind of what we started to realize. And I think he is maturing a little bit as a quarterback. I say this after he just lost by, I think, 50 points um, at Indiana. But I do think you saw in that Penn State game and saw in other games that he's kind of maturing. But I still think overall he wasn't the number one overall prospect in the country. That was a bit too much. Do I think Arch
That was
was?
Arch Manning.
Well, it was him
That
and Arch.
class was awful because Jackson
Oh.
Arnold was in that mix too. Like, ugh.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That class, you had Jackson Arnold, Arch Manning, Nico Iamaleava, like as a top 3 dudes, and they kept saying like Jackson Arnold was ahead of. Was he ahead of Nico?
No, it was. I think the top 3 was Arch,
Arch,
Nico,
Nico.
and Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a crazy class of 5-star quarterbacks. Like
Unreal.
you talking about, and this goes along, and I want to get both your takes on this, but I think the NIL, have you come to kind of like an end of the 5-star freshman quarterbacks coming in? Is that over because of the NIL? And you look at Joey Aguilar coming in to Tennessee, 24 years old, and the national narrative was like, Tennessee, what a bunch of idiots. And now Joey Aguilar is just tearing it up with a coach that just fits his mold. And then you have you have these veteran quarterbacks that go to these bigger schools and they play really well. And then you have all these 5-stars like Arch, Nico, and Jackson Arnold who look like doo-doo. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. And I'm of that belief that, a transfer quarterback with some seasoning on him, you can take that any day over a freshman 5-star. And I because you don't know what they're going to pan out to be. I remember very specifically Dylan Gabriel's last year. There were OU fans frustrated with him and were like, we need to put Jackson Arnold out there and get rid of Dylan Gabriel. Well, look how that panned out for us. I think experience means way more than 5-star talent because look, if they're that good, just pick them off down the line or pick someone else off down the line. But they're not going to be what you need as a freshman. So pouring that money into a freshman 5-star, pour it into someone who's actually good, who you've seen produce at a high level at another spot in the sport.
yeah, I think Austin, you said that you think that is changing.
Yes, and I say that as Tennessee has the number 1 overall high school quarterback committed for next year. Faison, different story, man. Different story, okay? But yes, I actually do agree. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are bad transfer quarterbacks. Like we got Joe Milton. Joe Milton wasn't bad, but he was, not that great. Okay, he had very obvious flaws, and that's why he didn't start in Michigan and yada yada yada. But I do think there is something about these 5-star QBs just not hitting the mark. I mean, Raiola has been okay at Nebraska. Bryce Underwood's been okay at Michigan, but overall, it's been not what you usually get from the 5-star market. I think that's pretty much consensus. And you got these guys like, honestly, that Mateer might look like the best quarterback in the country until he got hurt and messed with his head. I mean, I remember watching Washington State just pick apart teams. That guy, y'all really hit on him, and sucks how it's gone. But and then you got and don't get me wrong, you can get a guy from high school, bring him up, and it work out. Like I think the perfect way to do it is have them sit on the bench for a while. I think you're seeing that right now with Ty Simpson, and there we are really reaping the benefits from that. But overall, yeah, it's kind of like it's not what it used to be, let's just say. And I do think there is a lot of value in finding a guy that actually had to prove it in D1 ball before he came to your team. You can tell, like, based on like just their IQ and like being in that fire at that speed of the game, it really pays off.
Yeah, and I think bad experiences can really snowball, get into a guy's head, and just completely throw him off. So,
no, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Like, I think when they start, it's like you said when Dylan Gabriel, Bobby was playing, and they were calling for Jackson Arnold. Like, we want Jackson Arnold right now, and then it doesn't work out, and then the fan base quickly turns on them, kind of like they did Nico. Like they just quickly turn on him, and well, Nico's a little bit different because he turned on us, and his family turned on us. But you always get that chime of like, we want this guy, and then when he gets out there and he doesn't do what you think he's going to do, then football fans and sports fans in general are really impatient. They don't like to wait, especially like people like Oklahoma, people like Tennessee, people that are thirsty for being great again. And it doesn't work out the way it used to. And you just get frustrated quicker than normal. If you're like a fan of Georgia or a team like that, like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. But teams like Oklahoma and Tennessee were like, we want to win now. Like, I'm tired of this. I want to win big.
Well, and funny enough, probably the event that has made OU fans more trigger happy on a quarterback than anything is when they called to pull Spencer Rattler and you actually put in Caleb Williams and he won you the game out of nowhere. Now I think everyone thinks that, Caleb Williams is waiting on the bench. They'd be like, yeah, what if we put in Michael Hawkins Jr. instead of Mateer? I'm like, guys, come on. No. Let's cool the brakes here.
I feel like every time you put in the backup, for some reason, it just works out for like 2 drives. Mm-hmm. And that is like the ultimate, like, well, why were we starting this guy already? And don't get me wrong. There are situations where a guy's getting the reps because he's probably paid the most and there's pressure on you to start him. I've definitely seen that. And, you can really get into the weeds. But, yeah. So what do you think about this coaching carousel we're about to go into? Because it is literally the most crazy carousel I've seen in my entire life. I feel like that's partially because, like, not a lot happened last year, and everyone came into this year ready to get rid of their coach if it fucked up. And it is fucked up for a lot of folks.
And it's going to get worse. Like, there are some schools that are going to fire their coach. Hugh Freeze having a job by now is hilarious. Mark Stoops, if Kentucky fans even care about football and even know that they have to pay a head coach, he might be gone at any time. You never know. It's going to be really volatile, and it's going to continue to be pretty volatile. And what you'll get on this flip side, very similar to 2021, is you're going to start seeing some poaching happening, and that's when it's really going to get crazy because some teams are going to lose some damn good head coaches out there. Like it will happen.
Austin, what did you say about the LSU guy, the athletic director that came from A&M?
Okay. So the same, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the AD from A&M who hired Jimbo Fisher got hired at LSU, and he made the Brian Kelly hire. So he hired Jimbo Fisher at A&M, and LSU, he hired Brian Kelly. So this guy overall is accounted for about $140 million in buyouts. How the hell is this guy still employed? I mean, good Lord, talk about just panic hires that were costly to say the least. I mean, God, I hope this guy hires me someday.
Just like, that's a name I recognize. Let's give him a ton of money.
It's insane. Who could have not seen Brian Kelly not working out? I mean, who could or who not could have? Everyone should have been able to see that, in my opinion, because he fit like a square peg in a round hole the second he showed up. And the Familaay part was just the icing on the cake. I mean, just this guy is as Catholic in New England and douchey as they come. I mean, let's be honest here. He did not fit Louisiana whatsoever. And on top of that, he wasn't winning. And on top of that, they didn't like him. I remember being in LSU in 2022. And to be fair, we had a lead over them at halftime. And I went to the concourse, and how they talked about the Brian Kelly reminded me of how we talked about Butch Jones. But the only difference is that's how we talked about him in year 4 and 5. And that's the way they were talking about him in year 1. They already hated the son of a bitch. Why the hell did they hire him in the first place? He didn't fit. Like, that's where I feel like there's a disconnect sometimes between the up and the upper people and the real actual fans who are the customers in all this. You guys just see a name and see a track record and think, oh, that'll work. And it doesn't. But it happened, whatever. I think they should just throw every dollar they have at Marcus Freeman because LSU is the best job available in this cycle right now.
Marcus Freeman is not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I don't think he would. I have seen some rumors about what's his face at Oregon. Them throwing money at him, getting him down there.
Landing would be real interesting.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to take a lot to pull him out of Oregon. You have the soft Big Ten, tons of Nike money. That's one of those jobs that even though Oregon's not like an long-standing big name, that's going to take a lot to pull him out of there.
Yeah. And what, Austin was saying, like the coaching carousel, like this has got to be the most insane that's not even off season yet. Like that's what's wild. It's not even
November.
No.
More jobs are going to open. It's crazy.
Yes. So Bobby, Austin, both of you, where do you think James Franklin's going to end up? Where is that? Because he's going to get a job quick.
That's intriguing. I don't know. Austin, you have any idea? Like,
it's kind of weird because like no one is that excited for James Franklin right now. No, like Arkansas, maybe that you can get those people behind you, but also he doesn't really fit Arkansas. Like I know maybe that whole thing fit is overrated. I don't find the whole narrative of fit to be overrated because that's what I saw with Brian Kelly, and part of the reason it didn't work out in my opinion, and why they were so quick to pull the trigger the second they saw any reason to. I could see him maybe. Okay, there's always been that Matt Rule to Penn State rumor, and if that happens, I could maybe see Nebraska calling him because he kind of, I don't know why, that just sort of fits Wisconsin. Maybe if they decide to fire Fickle, I could see that.
You know what, Austin? Chris says Florida. I don't think there's a chance in the south side of hell that he's going to Florida. But you just said with Nebraska, if Rule is not there, honestly, dude, that is kind of perfect for James Franklin. That's a fan base that is starving for anything good. James Franklin's not a terrible coach. He's a good coach, and he's always a winner. In Nebraska, like that is a good fit, man. You're right, Austin. Like that's a pretty good look. I didn't even think about that because I don't know if this Matt Rule thing is.
Yeah, that may not even happen. That was just a name that was thrown out there early in the whole thing.
I think the Rule thing that has legs to it, because when I asked him about the job, he didn't say, "Oh, I'm focused on Nebraska." He started waxing poetically about how he met his wife there, and oh my god, yeah, I have great memories out. Big. It was like, oh no, this guy loves this job.
He literally, it looked like he was like trying to sell himself to Penn State fans, which I guess he kind of has to because that doesn't feel like a home run hire, but maybe for them it's a perfect fit, that kind of deal. I could see Virginia Tech. I don't know if that's a good enough job for him, but that could happen. I feel sorry for anyone who gets Brian Kelly because is there any? Here's the thing about Brian Kelly. It's like he does win, but he doesn't win enough for you to really get excited. And also you're going to hate him. No one's really loved Brian Kelly. I don't even think like I don't know him personally, but he also, has his scissor lift situations, but,
what program is going to be desperate enough to hire Brian Kelly? Like who's going to be desperate enough?
Oh my God. What if Clark Lee gets hired by somebody and he ends up at Vandy? Something about him. He reminds me so much of Tim Corbin in a weird way that it would honestly be a perfect fit at Vandy. That stuck up asshole kind of just vibe. I don't know.
What program is desperate enough to hire Brian Kelly? Let me tell you, folks. Let me introduce you to a small town in Stillwater, or its team in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Because I could definitely see them. Talk about bad cultural fit for one.
Wow,
going from Mike Gundy to Brian Kelly, my God. But
it's like
it's the most hilarious idea ever.
That's like going
you
from
imagine that?
Natty Light to Alka-Seltzer or something. I don't know.
Could you imagine Brian Kelly in Stillwater? Oh my God!
He would land in Stillwater, get off the plane, and be like just head back.
You go from
He would tarmac himself.
He could,
go from a guy with a mullet
he'd
to
have a
freaking gray hair.
terrible. He would put on his best terrible Oklahoma accent, and maybe he'll have his own mullet. I mean, maybe he's got a guy. You know. He tries for like 24 hours.
He opens his new desk. There's a note from Mike Gundy telling him all of his favorite noodling spots. You know, it's just like, oh, never mind.
Noodling spots, and then there's a wig, a freaking mullet wig in there. Put this on. Promise me. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he would do it, but that is a team that would be desperate enough to do it. So
I'm trying to think who would win Oklahoma State, because that's such a under Gundy. The last few years, I've never seen a program that has some substance to it recruit worse than them. I go to their 247 page. It's like they are fighting desperately for like the fifth worst 3-star in Oklahoma. It literally was like the bottom of the barrel. They were essentially a group of 5 team, which you could argue that's a lot of the Big 12 right now. But well, about a quarter of it. I don't think who would win there.
It's a weird place.
Miles on, maybe? I don't know.
Gusson in Stillwater. I could see that. It's going to be interesting because the thing that Gundy did great over there is he took, stuff that he really took, underrated players and made something of them. And you just kind of can't do that these days. It's just, it doesn't work in modern college football. And he just never adapted. It's going to have to be someone who's really good at scrapping from nothing and who is, willing to, kind of work on low NIL and figure something out. Because I don't think Gundy was able to do that.
Don't they have big boosters? T-Boone Pickett or whatever.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. Okay.
I'm gonna throw out.
I'm not quite on the Oklahoma beat like that.
That's totally fair. You're fine.
I remember that was a thing, like 3 years ago. But
that was back when everything was about facilities and the facility arms race, and it's just a little different now.
I do have a name real quick to throw out there that I heard is really itching to come back. Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen.
I heard that he is wanting to coach again.
He is coaching.
Oh, he's at UNLV.
Well, I know. I'm talking about at a bigger level.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
You don't go to UNLV unless you want to go to somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
Sorry to misword that. I meant like at a higher level. Like he wants to coach again at like a higher destination. And I will never understand how Florida in the first place let Dan Mullen go. We'll never understand that. And now they're in the predicament they're in right now with Chuckle Nuts over there that's getting fired because he can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Billy Napier. So college football, this is nuts, guys. Like, this is really nuts.
It's a sport where, especially at some of those higher levels, if you're not winning the right way, or like at the top level, sometimes you'll just cut off your leg to try to save it, even though nothing's happening. But it's
like what you said, Bobby. It's only November.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing too is there's so much money involved in these rosters that when you're pouring all of this money into a team, trying to get them to win, and they're not winning, well, you're going to get all pissed off and be like, well, we got to fire him. And then in turn, you're spending all this money on the buyout to get rid of the coach, which then you're going to need also more money to pour into the new coach. And it's just unsustainable. But
it's a never-ending cycle you can wind yourself into. And that's a bit what Florida is. And when McElwain failed, Muschamp failed, then Mullen, I kind of feel like Mullen was just kind of, okay, don't get me wrong. There was reasons for Florida fans to be frustrated with Mullen. There was. He didn't quite recruit how a Florida coach needs to recruit. And then he had that he finally had a bad season. Finally had a truly bad season, and it kind of felt like, okay, we were kind of pissed off at this guy when he went 9-3. Now he's going 4-8. We can definitely get rid of him. And then they hired Billy Napier, who at the time to be fair, his reputation was I'm a good old Southern boy and I can get on the recruiting trail and kick some ass. And I'll be honest, he recruited better than Mullen did. He was worse at literally everything else. I will never understand how that went so bad, but it
So
did, and it just never worked. I
should tell
remember
you.
watching them last season. It was literally like he was trying to lose that game. He was unreal. But now I do think Scott Strickland and everyone there is kind of at a point where they're like, this next one cannot screw up, and that's why they're going balls to the wall to get Lane. Do I think they'll get him? My gut tells me no.
No. But that should tell you everything you need to know what you just said about recruiting. Because look at Indiana. Great coach. Not great recruiter. Not getting great recruits. Hasn't had great recruits. You get a good X and O's guys in this day of football, it means all the difference in the damn world right now.
And like we were talking about earlier, mix that with portal guys who may not be like studs across the board, but they're developed. They're good college football players, and maybe they're dissatisfied they're not starting at whatever Texas, so you can get them over there, and kind of that's what Vandy's doing. That's what Indiana's doing. Really, that's how you're winning with less. You're investing all in the portal, not in high school at all, essentially.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, Cal guy, they had their, 3 weeks of fame last year, but, Mendoza on a bigger level, he absolutely translated. And that's, done everything for Indiana this year.
Yeah. All right. Final scores, guys. What do we got? Bobby? Actually, hang on, Bobby. I'll let you go last. I'm gonna get Austin. Thank you. I'm gonna get. Thank you, Austin. Your final score prediction for Oklahoma versus Tennessee. What is it gonna be? And there goes his. This is so tough.
I actually have my laptop stolen, so I'm using an iPad. And I completely forgot that it caught on the pad right here. Whatever. But my prediction for Oklahoma, Tennessee will be I don't know. I've kind of been all over the board with this. I think we'll have an okay day on offense, not like an elite day. We'll be plenty to be pissed off about. But I'll go 35-31.
Ooh. Okay.
There you go. So you have us breaking the 30s. Nice.
Everyone does.
Everyone trust me, buddy. Here's my Bobby. You'll see. Well, and you're gonna be. I'm gonna just think of you. If Tennessee's defense somehow turns into this freaking monster for this one game, like you said, they'll turn into a great defense when they play Oklahoma. But Tennessee makes average quarterbacks like the one in Kentucky look like a freaking Heisman winner, just throwing all over the yard. I would say Oklahoma would beat Tennessee if this was a normal game. But I've said it all podcast. This type of game just brings out the insanity in this team. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It brings them to another level of confident. They just feel confident. It's like one of those things. Like they look good, they feel good, they play good. One of those feels, that type of feel. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give Tennessee the win here because of that, because of dark mode, because of the atmosphere, because of the electricity in this stadium that you'll see on Saturday. I'm gonna go Tennessee 38. Oklahoma 30.
Another 30. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Talking about dark mode, I fully respect Neyland. I think that environment's going to be rocking. And when you look at the road games OU's faced this year, they played Temple in a game that resembled, like a high school football championship in Philadelphia, where nobody was there at 11 a.m. And you played at South Carolina, who was pretty much halfway dead at that point. And, 11 a.m. in Columbia ain't the same as a night game out there. I have a really bad feeling that one of the things we saw with John Mateer turnovers earlier in the season is going to crop back up again. I think Oklahoma keeps it close. I think it's a tight game, but ultimately I'm going to go with Tennessee. Let's go Tennessee 31, Oklahoma 23.
Wow.
A lot of field goals. You'll hear my boy Tate Sandell a couple times, our kicker, but in general, it's I just don't think Oklahoma is going to be able to do enough on offense to get it done. I don't think they're going to pressure Joey Aguilar enough to really make a massive impact in the way they need to flip the game. So yeah, I think the Vols get a really big win here.
You have a lot more confidence in our defense than we do.
Again, you're going to find a way to just you're going to find a way to make it work because our running game is weird and confusing, and ultimately I don't see this team that just can't get out of its own way finally figuring it out in Neyland. I just don't.
Well, we all three have Tennessee winning, which is wild. But Bobby, I appreciate you coming on here. I can't wait to hang out the tailgate this weekend. G10, we'll get it going. You'll get the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere. I can't wait for you to experience Neyland. I can't wait for it, man. It is something else, man. I'm telling you right now, it is something else. It's fun. It's insane. And me and also were just talking about this the other day. Oh, we live in Knoxville, and we pass Neyland Stadium every day, and we take it for granted that we just live minutes away from every game. And a lot of people will just travel miles and miles and miles to come see a game here when it's on our doorstep. But I hope you have a great time. You're in for a treat. You're in for a big treat this Saturday. And I hope you leave just blown away, and I think you will.
Yeah. I cannot wait. Truly excited. Obviously not optimistic about the game itself, but Neyland and Knoxville, one of the great college football cathedrals in the world, and looking forward to checking it off the bucket list. And I've been looking forward to this return trip for about a year now. After last year's Tennessee, really multiple weeks. So excited to get out there and see y'all's beautiful city, beautiful campus, and incredible atmosphere.
Awesome. Any last words?
Just please let this go well. That's all. That's all I can say. Just if we lose this game, it's gonna be bad. I'm just tell you right now, because I don't know. It'd be bad for y'all too, but we're both. That's what is so crazy about this game. We're just going to this game both with the feeling of, well, if we lose here, it's gonna be bad.
This is a playoff implication game right here. It's got playoff written all over it.
I feel like if Tennessee wins this game, it's like, we probably should have. That's how it should go. But if OU wins this game, it's like, it's a program-defining win. Everything's different. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then we'll be saying this is going nowhere. Where are we going? This is another down year. Another freaking. Last year was a anomaly. Blah blah blah. Goodbye.
All right, Bobby. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Thanks for coming on. We will do it again next time we play. So, anyways, good night. Go Vols. Hope Oklahoma loses. God bless. Peace out. Bye-bye.